Today we're here to talk about guitar apps, and I'm just going to start off by introducing everybody here on the panel, and then we'll get into it. First, myself, my name's Whitmore, and I own a marketing agency called Madison Marketing, and I specialize in marketing and PR for the musical instrument industry, and I also have worked on several apps that we're going to talk about today, doing the marketing and PR. I also write for Guitar World magazine. I have a column that focuses on female guitarists. So I'll be writing about some of the players here at South by Southwest this week. And I'm the producer of a new event coming up called the Women's Music Summit that's happening in New York at the end of August. Let me move along. My next guest here is Scott Roth from Agile Partners.
Hi everyone. Agile is a company that started out as a web consultancy back in the day, and we saw a great opportunity when iPhones and iOS and the App Store came out, so transitioned to doing our own products, and we got into music basically because we were interested. So we've got four main apps for guitarists now. One is Guitar World, which is, I'm sorry, not Guitar World. One is Guitar Toolkit, which is Brad will maybe talk about that. Guitar Toolkit, which is a tuner, chord reference, metronome, things like that. We say it's the essential collection of utilities you need to learn a better guitar. The next is Tab Toolkit, which is a sheet music reader, and it dynamically reads in sheet music files and allows you to do things like slow down, speed up playback for practice, and has an audio synthesis engine built in, so you can listen to what you're playing, listen to the other tracks, play along with them. And after that, Guitar World Lick of the Day, which is a partnership with Guitar World magazine, and that's an instructional-based app that is built on top of the Tab Toolkit technology with some new pieces as well. We push out a lick every day, a couple of bars of music, something interesting for people to learn. And we sell content in several different ways, and we'll talk about that more later, I'm sure. And last is AmpKit, which is an amp simulator with lots of cabinets, amps, pedals, microphones. You can get lots of different cool tones out of it. And we partner with PV on that app to produce a hardware connector called the AmpKit Link, which you can see in that picture as well. Allows you to plug from your headphone jack into a guitar and just play it right through the app. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. And next we've got Harold Lee from Rock Prodigy. He's going to give you a little rundown.
My name's Harold Lee. I'm from Rock Prodigy. What we do is we're like Guitar Hero, but we can use any guitar, and you can use acoustic because all the iDevices have microphone in and stuff like that. So basically, we get people sounding like the master recordings within minutes because they only have to play 1 out of 20 or 30 notes at a time, but with the right notes at the right time. Use any guitar and any instrument actually, and we make it a game to learn the music. And we're a small startup out of Los Angeles. What we started out with in terms of business plans, in terms of projections, in terms of market analysis, and I would imagine that a lot of y'all are here because you want some more intel or you're doing your own type of things. Everything has changed every day. Every day is a new discovery, and every day is a joy greater than the previous. And so I told my company back there that I was going to do something, and Laura said I could bring a guitar, so I'm going to do this. Ready? so that's my theme song, and that's me.
Okay, and then to my left here, we have Brad Zielinski, who is the editor of Guitar World magazine. And Brad, why don't you talk a little bit about what your involvement is with the app?
Well, basically, most media these days, whether you're a newspaper, magazine, or TV show, you're expected to, get yourself involved in all sorts of different social media. And back when apps were just, starting to come into vogue, everybody was turning to me and saying, gee, what's Guitar World going to do for an app? So Lick of the Day sort of came out of that, as well as some other more magazine-oriented apps that we're doing. And I guess as we go along, we'll talk about more about the ideas and the philosophy behind why we went in that direction.
Okay, and our final panelist is Jeff Klein, who's a guitarist with the band My Jerusalem. And Jeff has had 3 critically acclaimed solo albums. He's recorded and performed with a whole bunch of great players, including the Twilight Singers, Gutter Twins, Annie DeFranco, Ed Harcourt, and many more. And he and My Jerusalem have just finished recording their next release, which was produced by Jim Eno from Spoon, and he tells me it'll be out this year, he promises. Right, Jeff? So, Jeff, I just wanted to invite Jeff up here as a guitarist who uses apps, and I wanted to just ask Jeff, what apps are you using, and what are you into?
Well, mostly I've been using the Amp Kit app and also the Guitar Toolkit, or like the utility stuff that's more, tuner, metronome, and then the Amp Kit I've been using instead of one of those cigarette amps that I used to use all the time on the road. Basically just using the Amp Kit one in the hotel room, the headphones and stuff, and just kind of screwing around with that. You can also use it to like record stuff for later. So.
What did you use before that? For that?
I used to have a mini disc player that I used to always have around, and then after that, I used to just set up my laptop and use, GarageBand with the little crappy mic that comes on the Apple, and so this kind of makes it easier.
Okay, cool. So that's our little introduction. Now we're going to talk a little bit about more app fun. So I want to just open this question up to the panel. What are your main objectives when you think about apps and guitars? And Harold, why don't you give us a little...
For apps and guitars, it's totally amazing that processing power, that resolution, and it's like this perfect storm. It's like 2012, perfect storm, processing power, pitch detection, graphics, amp modeling, and basically you're walking around with this thing, like your iPhone is a supercomputer, right? And the objective is to maximize and push that envelope to let guitarists, musicians be more creative than ever. This wasn't possible like 5 years ago. Literally, you would be thinking about, okay, am I going to deploy for Windows? Am I going to deploy for Linux? But this phone is faster, has a greater resolution because of Retina than the computer I literally was using for doing desktop publishing. It's insane. So being a musician, that's the objective, is to push those creative boundaries.
What you got to...
I agree with all that. I think we also like to think, what can we give users beyond just pushing the creative boundaries? And we like to concentrate a lot on the user experiences that we can give out there. And it's, to be on top of all that horsepower, you can make things more accessible than they've ever been before with the touch interface on these mobile devices. And we really strive to make everything accessible to everyone, and then to constantly iterate on top of that. I think once you've got something out there, you see what people like, you see what they don't like, you keep going. Just one quick example, like Guitar Toolkit, our tuner utility app, was on the App Store the day it opened 3.5 years ago, and it had a couple thousand chords in its library that we had manually programmed in. Today, we've kept going, and now we've got a library of scales, chords, and arpeggios that are over 2 million. And yeah, it's a lot of chords. And they're produced algorithmically, and you can also, it allows users to be more creative because you can put in any custom tuning you want. So you're not just limited to the tunings we have, and it'll figure out on the fly how to finger the chords for that tuning. And allows people just to have this resource that would have been in 1,000 books or not existed for a made-up tuning years ago. So pushing the envelope.
It's all on your phone.
It's all on, right? It's always with you all the time.
All right, got a marketing idea. make a contest where someone could use all those chords in one song.
Have you ever done something?
Be a long song.
No? And it got completed in 2012.
Yeah, right.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, being more in the media, our objectives are different than the gentlemen over here because they're programmers and they're getting into like pushing the limits and dealing with the technology side of it. And for Guitar World, it was more like, how can we create an app that we think our readers will embrace? And it also had a bit to do with me thinking about, what did I want out of an app and how did I see those things going? I mean, there was a lot of push towards just recreating the magazine on an app, but I'd seen those with other magazines, and I never looked at them on them because the medium isn't right for that. So we're trying to think of what would be a cool thing that our readers would get off on. I mean, the other thing that I felt was that the best apps that I had, the apps that I liked, were always very focused. They did one thing incredibly well. So that just led me to the thinking that a good thing for Guitar World to do is just to teach somebody how to play something new every day. Something simple, they can pull out, they can take a look at it. It'll take them, it could be like a 5-minute thing. And so we came up with the idea of the Guitar World Lick of the Day. And the idea behind it was to do one thing, but do it as good as you could possibly do it. So there wouldn't be any room in the market for anybody else to get it. Partly for that, and partly because I just think that those are all the apps that I like, are things that do one thing well. So the Guitar World Lick of the Day shows you how to play like a new cool thing every day. It shows you how to do it through video, it shows you how to do it through tab, standard notation. You can turn the thing, you can make it right-handed, you can make it left-handed. Plays it fast, it plays it slow, Every possible way you could want to learn how to play a simple lick, this thing does. And we did it with Agile Partners, and I think we really came up with a great functional app. We've had, I think, over 1 million downloads so far.
Do you have anything you want to comment on what you said?
Not really. I mean, if I was still a kid, like learning how to play it, it would be fascinating for me. Also, just being a generally lazy person, to have everything in one place on my phone. I mean, I used to sit, Guitar World magazine or whatever, learning licks to Guns N' Roses songs, as a kid. So, I mean, I would actually be completely immersed in it if I was still at that place.
So, how do you guys find ideas for apps? Do you do surveys? Do you go out and survey guitarists and see what they're looking for? Or do you have some other method to your madness? Scott, what do you start?
Yeah, we generally try and think of something that we would want and scratch our own itch and kind of prototype something from there and see how it works and see if it's going to be something really useful. And I think Brad hit on a really good point, which is do one thing and do it really well. And these devices really lend themselves to that, all these mobile devices. Other ways that we get ideas and listen to people, we obviously listen to our users for new features they want, things like that. And we try and partner with people when it makes sense. And as Brad said, he came to us with the great idea for the instructional app that became Guitar World Lick of the Day. And so kind of listen to everything that's out there and yeah, no formal surveys or anything, but trying to solicit as much feedback and as ideas from wherever we can.
But you haven't.
So we have a few apps out there. One's Rock Prodigy, one's the Dave and Stain app, one's the Offspring app. We're going to be releasing, no doubt, Keith pretty soon. And the way that came about was we use mastered recordings in our software. It's because it's like Guitar Hero, but real guitars. And so to license stuff, you have to get people to agree to give you masters and stuff like that. So when we showed it to Dave and Stain, he goes, "Oh, that's cool. I want one." Like, what do you mean? It's like, I want my own app. And so what we're doing is working directly with them to provide a fully immersive experience and truly have to just say that the surprising, just unexpected joy of working with Dave Insane, Tom Devine, Noodles is just, they get it. They get it immediately. They say, oh my gosh, this is a great way to get people to learn the tunes. So, so that's how we think of it. We've been invited to do, I know this is about guitars, but piano and voice and things like that. So we are following the lead of the artist community and really thankful for that.
So you're saying that, you know, you have to make sure you get the licensing rights and then you decide whether that's a viable product?
Well, luckily what happened was we meet with the artist and the management and everything else falls into place. Like before, like if you're going to go out and license tunes, it's a
So you want to get the artist jazz on it?
Absolutely. Artist jazz on it, everything's falling in place. Yes.
Got it. And are you working on any new apps or thinking about going forward with apps or?
Yeah, well, I think with anything, whether it's a magazine or a technology, you always have to, if you want it to last and you want people to embrace it and have it be a long-term concern, you have to create a narrative, and that narrative has to evolve and it has to change. And with Lick of the Day, we knew that when it came out that people would embrace it, but then you have to say, you need to get people to keep talking about it over a period of time. You know, just putting out the product, you know, the way technology is, everybody gets excited about it in the very beginning, and then it just sort of has this dwindling effect. So the idea is we wanted to take Lick of the Day, we wanted to evolve it and make it into, you know, have a second and a third and a fourth chapter to it, to move it along. So we've had Lick of the Day out there for about a year now, and now the second stage is we're going to start, I'm sorry, I should say that these licks are created by staff people. That the next is that we're going to start doing artist-oriented licks. So we're now packaging bundles with, say, 10 licks from Jimi Hendrix's album catalog. We just released one built around the Beatles' best riffs, licks. And every time we do that, you know, it puts us back in the spotlight a little bit. People look at it and see if they like it, and then it turns them on to Lick of the Day. And we're going to continue that throughout the course of the next few years, introducing specialty things, how to play the blues, how to play jazz, along with artist-oriented packages.
How to play My Jerusalem song?
How to play My Jerusalem songs.
Okay, cool.
I'm not working on any new maps. Maybe
No.
we'll get
But you might be interested in doing some
One
licks for Lick of the Day.
that helps me cheat on my taxes while being a guitar player, like Chris too, and maybe clears my student loans.
We were talking about creating an app that for musicians that would turn your phone into a beer. We thought that would be...
Where to find beer and weed?
That would settle out.
Beer locator?
beer locator.
Where'd you put your beer down? Is that what you're talking about?
but literally turn your phone into a beer. We're working on it.
It's coming.
Oh,
It's the carbonation is
you
the problem.
have to change matter. That's a tough one. Okay, so I was just thinking about, you know, some of these apps have been out for a little while, and have you seen the landscape changing since you introduced these apps? Are there new trends? I mean, I would guess that one of the new trends would be lots more people using apps than before, but say from when you introduced Guitar Toolkit.
Yes, and lots more apps that are trying to be used is a main one as well. In terms of like the App Store business in general, we could do a whole other panel on that and how it's changed from kind of the Wild West days to now. But in terms of music apps specifically, I think that there have been some trends we've seen in terms of just the sophistication of everything that's out there. I guess if you start on the consumer side, then like there were a lot of band apps that came out right when these iOS devices started to come out, but they were pretty much containers for press releases, and they weren't that exciting text being pushed out to fans. Now you're starting to see a lot more cool stuff with multimedia, with bands actually interacting with their fans, things like that. You're also starting to see some pure social experiences. If you think of apps like there's a company called Smule that has Magic Fiddle, Magic Flute, all that sort of stuff, that you're not just playing a little virtual instrument, you're playing it with people around the world, and they have the technology to allow you to listen into what other people are playing and to play along with people. It's very cool. Your music is inherently a social experience, and I think we're really getting there more rather than people just kind of staring into their blank screens and doing stuff. I guess I'd say on the musician side, we're seeing a lot more sophistication because of the horsepower, like that Harold was mentioning. Each year, these devices get more powerful. With the newest hardware, we've taken our amp kit app from a one-stage amp simulation to a two-stage preamp, and then amp simulation, which obviously allows people to get better tone. And so I think that we're going to keep seeing sophistication increasing as the hardware increases, and you can't underestimate how much cooler everything got when tablets came out, which has been 2 years now, but that just tilted the universe wide as well. So that changed the market and everything greatly.
Harold, do you have a comment?
Changing landscapes, yes. Like
It's
literally,
changing.
we went in with like, okay, we're gonna do plan A. We're like plan Z. It like changes every day. Like for instance, Apple, like they're continually telling, hey, there's new features, and so the interconnectivity. One of the great things that you will see, that we've seen, is that things like SoundCloud, things like there's this great willingness of companies that open up their APIs. So if that's not your sweet spot, chances are you can add that functionality to wherever you want to do. Somebody's doing it for you in a very open, willing way, and kind of draft off of each other's things. So it's changes every day, and actually coming to South by Southwest and talking to people what they want to do and see what they got going on. It's just great. It's like every day is a new joy.
Would you have anything?
About moving it forward.
Just about, Liquid a Day launched, I think it was November.
Yeah.
Not last year, but the year before. Has it sort of been used in the way that you expected, or has the market accepted it in the way you expected, or were there things that have changed along the way that made you kind of change your view of what we should be doing?
Well, it's sort of the great thing about all this, the technology, is that you do get a lot of instant feedback, and then that does affect, to some degree, what you're going to do, as well as the money that it costs to do those things, and the manpower, et cetera, et cetera. And we've gotten, most of the feedback we've gotten about the app itself has been super positive. The negatives are that actually you have to pay for it, and people don't like to spend money. They don't like to pay for apps. But that seems to be sort of the biggest thing. I don't really think I can help those people. They're going to have to pay. Yeah, they're going to have to pay. But it's funny that maybe the other complaint that we've received is that people want more basic stuff, more beginner stuff. But it's really, really hard to create interesting basic stuff. So we were always struggling with that. I always get these guitar players who want to show their flashiest licks, and I'm always saying, guys, don't show your flashiest licks. Nobody's going to be able to play this stuff. Play something that's a little bit more accessible. So we're working hard at that, coming up with cool stuff, but things that people can actually play, aren't total virtuoso.
And I wanted to ask you, Jeff, like, how do you find out about the new apps that you want to use, or
I mean,
what makes you interested?
I guess most most musicians nowadays are kind of like tech junkies also, so kind of, I think just through friends, like, we're always like checking out each other's phones and what they have on them. And, I read stuff like Engadget and things like that. I mean, like just different like tech blogs, I hate that word, blog, tech blogs, and different things. I don't know, they just kind of filter through different means. But mostly it's through friends, they're all musicians.
Do you ever use any of this stuff in studio application? That's one thing that I don't really see happening right now.
No, I think it'll be a while. I mean, I could see at some point, connecting your phone to a T12 cabinet and using it live or something like that. I mean, the possibility is definitely there.
Yeah.
I'm a recovering Luddite. I mean, I used to, be anti-Pro Tools, let alone any of this stuff. So now that I'm fully immersed in all of that, I mean, I'm open to it. I mean, but yeah, no, I'd be too nervous to use it in any of those situations. I don't think it's there yet, but I can see it happening in the future for sure.
But I mean, you say that you use the amp. Just to practice and stuff. I mean, it'd be cool, right, if you could tweak it so that it would be an amp sound you could actually go to the studio.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it would make your whole record portable.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be amazing.
I think that there's a whole spectrum of players out there, obviously, right? There's hobbyists who, if they just want to screw around with chords, whatever, the tools are to the point, I think, where they can do that. And then there's, we hear from people that play like coffee shops and worship bands, small live gig settings where they're starting to use some of these tools. That's cool. But yeah, I think that, like Jeff, what you were saying, that the professional musicians I think a lot of these tools are helpful for you, like you were saying, jot down some ideas while you're on a tour bus or in a hotel room or something, but not ready yet to plug an iPad into a huge stack and let it rip.
Tube interface, maybe.
Yeah, let's get going, guys.
Do you think that's a limitation of the processing power in the devices themselves, or is it just not accepted yet to use this tool as a live performance tool?
I think it's somewhere in between. There's definitely better modeling that is going to come as we get more power, but there's like Jeff did say, it didn't sound good, or it doesn't sound good enough, which maybe you will say now, but you say you don't trust it yet,
I don't trust it, and I mean, the sound, I mean, it sounds good, but it also doesn't, it doesn't sound like, this is my live or studio sound. It sounds like, this is a good enough recreation where I can work on some stuff, and it's, I think you'd have to figure out a way to still get like a certain grease and warmth that's more, integrate the human with the technology somehow to make it.
I guess it's a similar thing, like you might see sort of technology-based musicians using their computer, keyboardists, what have you, on stage, but I haven't really seen a guitarist.
Yeah, maybe it's Skrillex.
Maybe. I don't know, does he use guitar? Okay. That covered my next question, so we can move on. I had a thought, do you guys have any insight? Are there perhaps uses for guitar that haven't been explored yet? Have you guys thought of any sort of, it's definitely used in practicing and learning how to play guitar, maybe like doing quick recordings and things like that. But have you thought about perhaps there's some unmet guitar-related music? Nah.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely is. There's always something new you can do. I think that specifically in instructional, we're just at the tip of the iceberg. That Brad and I have done, we're just doing one very distinct kind of content, essentially a 2-minute video teaching you one lick. And as Brad said, video, tab, that sort of thing, but you can start to incorporate backing tracks and many other pieces of technology, many other forms of content. So I think we're going to get there where things are very cool, especially like Harold said, we've got your iPhone or your iPad is listening to you play now. I mean, that's just in its infancy. That's only going to get better and better. So I think that people will be learning whole courses off these devices soon.
Maybe the device can learn, so it could just be your guitarist.
It's not quite as fun, I don't think.
Player.
Right.
That was really Matrix and Terminator of the combined into one.
It's like, how?
I'll have to say, is interesting, the whole look of the day thing is to where it could go, but this, for anybody out there, like, we thought this is going to be so simple. We're just going to do a simple 4-bar lick every day. We're just going to do this. But for every one of those licks, like hours of manpower go into creating this thing. And then, you know, that's some of the limitation right now. Drives us a little crazy sometimes. You know, we thought, oh, we'll bang this thing out in 10 minutes every day, but it's turned into, you know, for every lick, I don't know how many man hours go into it, but
I think that's probably a challenge, because if you want to deliver quality content, you know, you have to think about how much you can make from selling an app and how much can you put into it, like any other business model.
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge challenge. Brad already said it, everyone wants everything for free. And there's so many apps in these app stores now and so much competition that people are lowering prices. And, you know, Guitar World has a studio and professional musicians producing this content. It has to be put in a certain format to work in the app and all this. And then people want, you know, a month's worth of content for $1.99 or whatever. And so it's a challenge both on the content side and I think also on the app side, the functionality side. We're constantly struggling with what's the right size project to do. I'm sure you are as well. Because we can sit here and dream up crazy stuff to do, but I can't have 3 guys working on it for the next 9 months because the market just won't support that. Or, you know, maybe it will if it's a grand slam, but that's a huge risk to take.
What about you, Alex? Any comments on
I probably do. What was the question? We had to do that one time.
that? My original question was, are there uses for apps with guitar that maybe haven't been explored yet? And then we sort of got into what are the challenges of maybe developing those uses.
Yeah, what was said was really good, but one of the funny things is about pitch recognition, because we have these things that listen to you now, and what we were envisioning when we started our company was using a guitar instead of a keyboard. So you'd go like, okay, C note is the C, D note is the D, and like D sharp is T. And so basically you'd be inputting and writing emails while playing the guitar.
That's ridiculous.
Well, you asked for something different. I was like, hey, we can. So what we described was, we described that in the patent we applied for was around using pitch as an input device for computer interaction.
Can you use it to like turn your lights on and off too?
It's just like, the clapper, come on. Was that before everybody's time? Nobody remembers the clapper? All right. I was like, that wasn't the only old one here.
That was brilliant marketing, I think.
Brilliant.
I think also another place that we're going to see a lot of innovation is in collaboration and social. You already said that's starting to get there, but imagine when you've got a whole band that's playing off of a score that is synced together and that sort of thing. That's going to come as well. And I think, or an instructor annotating an exercise for a student and just wirelessly zipping it over to them. We're going to see lots of cool stuff around collaboration and bands and symphonies and all that.
And Jeff, I was wondering if there were some things about the apps that you use that you wish were different or that you had more of, or besides.
I mean, not really. I mean, where they're at right now, I mean, it seems like they're efficient in what they're trying to get across. I mean, again, you know, I think, you know, at some point, maybe, you know, I don't know how it would even be, but, you know, maybe making it a little bit more comfortable to use in a studio setting and things like that, whether it's like some kind of tube interface or whatever it would be, like, that you would use, you know, or as we can see, you know, since there's the pitch recognition thing, maybe having some kind of MIDI kind of thing going on and using that as your interface, and guitar, and recognizing guitar pitches and converting it to MIDI, you know, things like that.
Okay. And a thought that I had was, we were talking about this in the panelist room. What do you do when you get a bad review on your app, because people love to slam apps? Give them 1 star. Not that that's ever happened to any of the apps we're talking about here, but Harold, what do you do
It's a
then?
hypothetical
It's a hypothetical. What would you do if that happened?
Well, So we're a startup. We have really fragile egos, and we're like, when you get a 1 star, right? You have this kind of visceral gut reaction of like, damn it, what the hell? God, I don't understand. Blah, blah, blah. And so I think we did a lot of different things. We punch bags, we do all these things. But truly, what we do now is we try to understand why they gave us a 1 star. And like anybody ever read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits, like one of the first things you do is you try to seek to understand. And there's a reason why that book sold however to 100 millions. It's a kind of a good thing. And if we get over, like our company, like the people in our company, like we just have to get over that kind of initial reaction of like, damn it, what the hell, right? And then try to seek to understand and really try to figure out what we did and or what wasn't clear enough or all those things. But truly, but it kind of never goes away. Every time you get 1 star, you're like, you kind of hit the table, but it's all good. Everything's all good.
What do you think, Sam?
Yeah, same visceral reaction. Same visceral reaction. We hate it, but you got to learn from it.
Yeah.
Harold was saying, and some people have comments you can learn from, and some people are just jerks, and you got to move on. I think the biggest thing for anyone who's done this or is trying to do something similar is that users won't read text, no matter how short or how big or how clear. So everything you do, I don't know if you found the same.
Pictures.
Right, everything's got to be so intuitive and so easy to use, and no page instructions. And it's a challenge for our designers, but you know, when you start to see people who, hey, this is my first smartphone and I'm really enjoying this, you know, then you get on the opposite of the punch the wall, you get a good feeling. I'm there, but you know, you have the option to put these huge app descriptions in, and then you get slammed 1-star reviews that this doesn't do. I thought it was going to do this, and it doesn't, and it clearly says in the description, it doesn't do that, it does this other thing, and you got to get used to the fact that you're going to get those. So.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I can tell you what Agile does basically when they get 1-star reviews. They send it to us. So it wasn't that easy. I think Guitar will get it and they send it right to me.
Ross sends it to you and says,
We just filter the useful ones.
Well, you know, I think our app is as sound as it can be. I mean, I can't really imagine doing it much better other than the simple one. So you know, at some point you have to. It's all right to ignore people complaining, because that's what they do online. I mean, they get up online and they complain and they complain and they bitch about this and bitch about that. I'm like, I don't know, this thing's pretty good, you know. So I think, you know, I think it's also okay just to ignore it, you know.
have you ever given an app a bad review?
I create usernames all day long. And just keep fucking giving you guys 1 star after 1 star after 1 star.
You're the one.
Yeah.
Goes into the little bitch pile.
It's always, yeah. I think people hide behind anonymous names just to, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, I've been a musician since I was 15. I'm used to bad reviews.
Yeah. You gotta get over that.
Yeah. I mean,
One thing that's frustrating, and this is a little inside baseball, but it's people use reviews as complaint forums, and there's no way for us as developers to respond to them, which is very frustrating to us. So it would be nice if there was a better way to have a dialogue kind of in that review area, as opposed to just getting slammed and not being able to do it. Because sometimes we can't help the people, it's just misunderstanding, but if they don't contact us, they just write a review. There's nothing we can do. Yeah.
So here's a question that I've been dying to bring up. It's, are apps geeky or sexy? Brad.
They're geeky. They really are.
How about you, Jeff? What do you think?
I mean, geeky is sexy. It's
Geeky is the new
2012.
sexy?
Have you looked out on the fucking street? I mean,
Wow.
They're one and the same at this point, so
Right, there you go.
I'm sure apps can make you late as much as a guitar can make you late in 2 hours.
Are you saying geek is the new black?
I think so.
We like to hope so, at least.
That's excellent. It's a Cabernet,
It's a camera,
not a Chard.
not a Miller Lite, or both.
No, or it's sultry.
It's good, and nice finish.
Nice.
And my final question for you guys is, can you give us a peek into your top secret app laboratory? Is there something that you can let us know about that's coming up? I know you talked a little bit about some of the new bands that you're working with.
Yeah, new bands, new instruments, new platforms, and we started we got the green light to do an education pilot with a lower income school in Los Angeles. So it really brings kind of joy and tears to your eye, because when you go there, it's a K through 8 school. There's about 1,000 students, and 70% of them qualify for the reduced lunch price. And in Los Angeles, it's a big stink because they're pulling music out of all the schools. So we're partnering up with a major brand that's supplying the devices, supplying the content, and we're starting a pilot, which is super exciting because there's no substitute for just actually being there, just watching kids do stuff. So that's kind of super secret, and I hope nobody says it per se that'll get me in trouble. I'm like, oh no, my phone's ringing. So, but that's kind of.
How about you, Scott? Maybe new things?
Yeah, the next couple of releases we have coming out, the next one will probably be an amp kit release. That's the amp sim, and that's going to be primarily a gear release. We're trying to constantly release new amps and pedals and everything to give people new sounds they can get. And I think the most interesting thing that will be coming out in that is our first fully dedicated bass amp. We're going to trace Elliott amp. And bass, I think, is a really underserved community. Maybe since this is guitarist, they don't agree, but we're excited to do that, and that'll be out pretty soon here. We're also putting out a new connector, which is going to be called the MK Link HD, which is going to be a much better sounding tone, and that goes through these devices' dock connector as opposed to the headphone connector that we use now. So we're excited about that, and hopefully, Jeff, that'll get you closer to the sound you need to play live with it.
Cool.
We've also got almost done, we've been working on it for a long time, a huge release of our sheet music reader that is going to give a bunch of features that people have been asking for. The most requested feature we've gotten is 80 looping. So people really want to learn a part of a song and just play it over and over again. Pretty normal feature to want. We haven't had that yet, so that'll be coming out pretty soon. We're excited about that. As well as we're expanding to help out other instruments as well. We've got some new drum features, so you can see a drum kit and see where to hit all the drums as it scrolls, as the sheet music scrolls, and also some new features for keyboardists that we're excited about. So.
Brad, I think you mentioned some artists that were earlier.
Yeah, we're working on we're going to be spending the next 6 or 7 months working on the My Jerusalem app. And collaborating very
It's
closely.
going to be a labor somewhere.
Yeah, I have a really good idea for a new app, and I'm not going to share it.
Is it one that gives bad reviews quicker and more mass? Because I could actually.
It has something to do with turning your phone into a beer.
I will say on the Guitar Lick of the Day app, we just put out a ton of content. Brad mentioned some of it already, but his team kicked ass over the last 6 months to get lots of stuff out, and it's really high quality content, artist specific, Hendrix and Beatles, like Brad said, and some genre specific packs that you can actually have kind of a course of instruction. So we're very excited about that and look forward to doing more.
Yes, we're going to be doing a lot more of that stuff, but I have another idea that's really good.
Okay.
We've talked about it.
We'll talk about
Over
that.
a Cabernet. And Jeff, one final question for you. Like, what's your dream app besides beer finders? I thought maybe one of these
Those
guys
are kind
would
of my
make
dream app. I'm a really basic person. I don't know, like I said, the whole pitch integration MIDI type thing, if there's a way to do like, I work a lot and, when I'm not playing guitar, I use programs like Reason a lot, things like that. So, I think just anything that helps you be creative as much as, but I mean, again, the lesson part of everything is, learning, fingering, and I can't say fingering, I'm not fingering my phone. Learning like fingering, of course, and stuff, it is great, but if there's a way to actually truly, once you're at a level where you feel comfortable playing, that you can actually be as creative as you can, integrating recording and pitch, MIDI stuff, and things like that, I think that would be ultimately the most, useful thing for someone like me.
I'm going to open the floor if there's any questions, but before I do that, I just want to let you guys know that there's some slips on the table over there. If you want to sign up, we're going to give away some free downloads for some of the apps we've talked about today. But if there's any questions, please. Yes.
I have two questions actually. Have you guys, you're not doing an app for instructional songwriting techniques?
The question was, any thoughts on songwriting technique?
Have you guys thought
apps?
of doing, have you guys thought of doing an app for instructional songwriting techniques?
We've got requests for stuff like that. I know we've talked about, but you got to find the nice spot between boring theory and
Right,
interesting.
and creative inputs. I mean, you can
Right.
ask some of the artists that you already know at hand to some of their experiences and research into that and ask them, or maybe they could collaborate with that, some of the artists and their songwriting techniques and see, that would be a great app, maybe Dave Mustaine and his sort of songwriting technique or some of the bigger bands' songwriting techniques, if they would like to share that, if they want to open. And my second question is, have you thought of asking Apple if they'd be interested in having sort of like a lottery on giving away free iPods or free iPads or iPhones or whatever in exchange for higher rates on or higher or hits on the applications that you have, and sort of creating like a buzz through Apple?
I don't know, you guys could probably speak better too than I could.
I would say just the thing with Apple is they are sort of a very closed-off empire. We deal with them, but completely on their terms. I mean, you can suggest, but they're not a very collaborative entity.
Yeah, they have their own ways that they like to do things, and that's the way that you do it.
So would it be good to have everybody sort of together that's running this whole application thing, like sort of be like, oh, let's run somewhat of like a survey on what's the best, just to get people, just to get a buzz on the app, on what the best app is, and then Apple will give away a free,
I don't think they do anything.
No, they let you give it free. So buy it at your retail price.
I was going to say you're not under your budget, so
If you want to buy an iPad and give it away,
Pockets,
they're up for that.
those are my
Yeah, they're kind of.
You can buy 100 from Apple. They'll be happy to sell it to you.
And then you can do whatever you want, but you can't use their logo.
That's right.
You can use it in how they specify, which is okay. Anybody else have a question? Hang on, I'm going to bring the microphone to you.
Okay. I'm not familiar with all the apps that are out there, or even specifically a lot of the functions of your specific apps today. But from what I've looked at, it seems like pretty much everything is geared more towards rock as a genre. And I'm wondering if you think there is enough of a market to justify doing more like jazz or classical and other kind of guitar styles.
Well, actually, Lick of the Day, it tends to be a little bit more rock-oriented, but we do a lot of blues, jazz, and we've gone to now doing sort of specialty. Like lick packs instead of subscribing to the service. You can, if you like the technology and you like what it teaches you, you can buy what we're calling lick packs of like 20 or 30 jazz-oriented licks, blues licks. So nylon guitar. So bluegrass. So we're really Guitar World is a rock-oriented magazine, but we're very aware that the app world is a very, very big world, and we are trying to service really a wide variety of styles. In fact, it was really interesting. I'm not sure whether this is still true or not, but we released a Beatles, lick of the day thing, and at the same time we released several other packs, and I think our introduction to blues actually outsold the Beatles. So yeah, there's a definite desire, out there for different kinds of things that aren't just rock, and we're trying to take care of, that.
And Harold, did you mention that you're doing something with Keith Urban?
Oh yeah, Keith Urban, just a totally stunningly amazing guitar player and vocalist that I didn't really appreciate until we got to sit with him and have him talk about the music. So country, absolutely; classical, absolutely. But then also in the school pilot we're doing, it's kids' tunes on piano and singing. So yeah, we want to get there, and but guitar is my passion, so we've got to start with guitar. So.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, y'all.